this video, we will cover how to write a line graph essay for IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. Here is the 5 steps process I recommend for planning and writing IELTS line graph essays. Analyze the question, identify the main features, write an introduction, write an overview, and write the detailed paragraphs. I am going to take you through the whole process step by step as we work on a practice question. Many of you may be reluctant to spend time on steps 1 and 2 as you want to spend as much of the 20 minutes allowed for the essay as possible actually writing it. However, it is essential that you do them as they are the key to writing a high-scoring IELTS line graph essay. Before we begin, here's a model essay structure that you can use as a guideline for all IELTS Academic Task 1 questions. Ideally, your essay should have 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 should be the introduction. Paragraph 2, the overview. Paragraph 3 will be the first main feature and paragraph 4, the second main feature. Now that we have all these tools we need, we are ready to begin planning and writing our IELTS line graph essay. Here's our practice question. The graph below shows radio and television audiences throughout the day in 1992. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Let's understand the first step, that is analyze the question. The format of every academic task 1 question is the same. Here is our practice question again with the words that will be included in all questions highlighted. Every question consists of sentence 1, which is a brief description of the graphic, sentence 2, the instructions, and the graphic itself, which could be a chart, graph, or table. Sentence 2 tells you what you have to do. You must do 3 things. Select the main features, write about the main features, and compare the main features. All 3 tasks refer to the main features of the graphic. You do not have to write about everything. Just pick out 2 or 3 key features and you'll have plenty to write about. The next step is to identify the main features. The graphic in line graph questions should not be difficult to interpret. Each question has been created to test your language skills, not your mathematics ability. All you're looking for are the main features. These will usually be the easiest things to spot. There will be lots of information in the graphic to help you identify them. Here are some useful questions to ask. What information does the 2 axes give? What are the units of measurement? What are the time periods? What can you learn from the title and any labels? What is the most obvious trend? And are there any notable similarities? So what main features stand out in our practice graphic? Here's our IELTS line graph again. The timeline will give you the biggest clues as to the most significant trends. Look for general trends. There are 2 main features or trends in this line graph. Main feature 1, the peak time for TV audiences is in the evening, that is 8 p.m. Main feature 2, the peak time for radio audiences is in the morning, that is 8 a.m. The general trends you select will be the starting point for your essay. You will then go on to add more detail. However, with just 20 minutes allowed for task 1 and a requirement of only 150 words, you won't be able to include many details. We are now ready to begin writing our essay. Here's a reminder of the 4-part structure we are going to use. Paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2, overview. Paragraph 3, first main feature. And paragraph 4, second main feature. Now let's understand how to write an introduction. In the introduction, you should simply paraphrase the question, that is, say the same thing in a different way. You can do this by using synonyms and changing the sentence structure. For example, the question is, the graph below shows radio and television audiences throughout the day in 1992. You can write the introduction or paragraph 1 as, the line graph illustrates the proportion of people in the UK who watch TV and listen to the radio for over 24 hours from October to December 1992. That is all you need to do for the introduction. Next is how to write an overview, that is paragraph 2. In the second paragraph, you should report the main features you can see in the graph, giving only general information. The detail comes later in the essay. You should also make any clear comparisons you spot. This is where we write about the general trends. Here are the ones we picked out above. Main feature 1, the peak time for TV audiences is in the evening, that is 8 p.m. And main feature 2, the peak time for radio audiences is in the morning, that is 8 a.m. Now form these ideas into 2 or 3 sentences with a total of around 40 words. State the information simply using synonyms where possible. No elaborate vocabulary or grammar structures are required, just the appropriate words and correct verb tenses. For example, you can write the overview or paragraph 2 as: overall, a significantly greater percentage of the TV audience watched in the evening, while the radio had the most listeners in the morning. Over the course of each day and night, more people watch TV than listen to the radio. Next is how to write the first detailed paragraph. Paragraphs 3 and 4 of your IELTS line graph essay are where you include more detailed information about the data in the graphic. In paragraph 3, you should give evidence to support your first key feature. Don't forget to make comparisons where relevant. Here is our first main feature again. Main feature 1. The peak time for TV audiences is in the evening, that is 8 p.m. And this is an example of what you could write for paragraph 3. Less than 10% of people watch TV between 1 a.m. and 12 noon, but at 4 p.m. this figure increased rapidly, reaching a peak of almost half the population at 8 p.m. After this, the graph records a sharp decline in viewers, reaching a low of only a tiny percentage by 3 a.m. Next is how to write the second detailed paragraph. For the fourth and final paragraph, you do the same thing for your second key feature. Main feature 2. The peak time for radio audiences is in the morning, that is 8 a.m. Here's an example of what you could write for paragraph 4. Radio, on the other hand, shows a very different trend. The most popular time for listeners to be tuned in was just after 8 a.m., where around 27% of the population was listening. After a brief peak, the numbers dropped steadily to barely 2%, apart from fluctuations at around 4 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. The percentage of listeners remained low overnight before beginning a rapid ascent from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. high. Here are the 4 paragraphs brought together to create a finished essay. This sample IELTS line graph essay is well over the minimum word limit, so you can see that you don't have space to include very much detail at all. That's why it is essential to select just a couple of main features to write about. Now use what you have learned in this video to practice answering other IELTS line graph questions. Start slowly at first and keep practicing until you can plan and write a complete essay in around 20 minutes. That's all the information you will need to learn how to write a line graph essay. Thanks for watching. Until next time.